Good morning, I'm Madeline Lewis with ABC Hunter News. Newcastle Knights captain Hannah Southwell says she couldn't be more proud of her team, who have become back-to-back NRLW premiers. The Knights defeated the Gold Coast Titans 24-18 in the grand final yesterday afternoon in Sydney. Newcastle trailed by 6 points in the 60th minute before fullback Tamika Upton scored 2 tries to get the win. Upton was awarded the Karen Murphy Medal as player of the match. Southwell says she always knew the team could do it, and getting the win is a special feeling.
We've had people saying, you've lost too many players, you won't be able to do it again. We heard all that, but we shut it out. We stuck to our game plan, we knew what we were doing, we knew we were going to be hunted, and we wanted to hunt everyone back. So to be able to do that with your home team, little sister, is pretty special.
Fans at the Newcastle Live site were thrilled by the win.
It's great to see the girls go back to back. It's great to see them bring all this back to Newcastle. You know, they've worked hard all year.
Absolutely overwhelmed. They never gave up. They fought to the end and they got the job done.
Feeling absolutely amazing. So proud of them. For a second, I was a bit worried, but then they pulled through. They brought it home.
A civic reception will be held tomorrow afternoon at Civic Hall in honour of the premiership winners. Meanwhile, Penrith has produced the greatest grand final comeback in rugby league history to claim their third straight premiership, beating Brisbane Broncos 26 points to 24. The Panthers trailed by 16 points early in the second half before finishing with Nathan Cleary's match-winning solo effort 3 minutes from full time. Coach Ivan Cleary says he believed his side could win.
Well, I suppose, over this course of the last few years, we've won enough games and built enough belief that when we get our kind of momentum going in our game on, that good things will happen. Yeah, but I must say I was a little worried.
A man has been refused bail, charged after another man was allegedly set alight in Newcastle last week. Jennifer Ingle has the details.
Police say a 23-year-old man was assaulted and set on fire in the early hours of Thursday morning, September 28. He was taken to John Hunter Hospital before being transferred to Royal North Shore Hospital, where he remains in a serious but stable condition. Following inquiries, 20-year-old Newcastle man Sonny David was arrested and charged with using an explosive with intent to maim a person and cause grievous bodily harm. He was refused bail and will appear before Newcastle Local Court on October 4.
Investigations are underway into a break-in and robbery near Newcastle. Police were told about 4 a.m. yesterday, 2 men broke into a home on Gosford Road at Broadmeadow before they threatened a male occupant with a knife. They stole a handbag and car keys before leaving in a small white hatchback. Almost 2 hours later, officers were told a 31-year-old man driving on Mitchell Street in Merriweather was threatened with a knife by 2 men who pulled up alongside him and tried to steal his car. The 2 men are described as being of Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander appearance, with one younger man wearing dark clothing and the other wearing light-coloured clothing. Anyone with information is urged to contact police. The fourth and final day of the Koori Knockout Rugby League competition, which is one of the country's largest Indigenous sporting events, will get underway today. Eloise Farris-Smith has more.
The state's best Indigenous rugby league teams will battle it out today for the top prize at the Koori Knockout. 10,000 players, spectators and officials are expected to flock to the regional sporting complex in Tuggerah to watch the final matches get underway. The Redfern All Blacks will take on the Newcastle Yowies in the women's grand final, while the men's grand final is yet to be decided. The Blacktown Red Billy Warriors and Walgett Aboriginal Connection will battle it out in the first round, while the La Perouse Panthers and Wiradjuri Aboriginal Rivers are in the second round of the semi-finals.
And in A-League women's soccer, the Newcastle Jets have signed defender Natasha Pryor for the 2023-24 season. Pryor has previously played for the Jets and had stints at Canberra United and Sydney FC. The defender returns to the club after spending the 2023 season with Leichhardt FC in the New South Wales NPL. The Newcastle Jets kick off the new season on the 14th of October against the Central Coast Mariners. A sunny morning ahead in the Hunter, the chance of a thunderstorm with little to no rain this afternoon. Newcastle heading for a top of 27 degrees, Maitland 28, Singleton 32. ABC News. These are some of the major stories which made news this week in the Hunter. Police are appealing for witnesses and dashcam footage as they continue investigations after a man suffered serious burns in an alleged altercation in Newcastle West. The 23-year-old sought help from staff at the King Street McDonald's just before 3:30 on Wednesday morning. Police say he'd been bashed and set on fire by a group of men who then fled. The victim was taken to the burns unit at Sydney's Royal North Shore Hospital in a serious but stable condition. Outrage erupted at a Cessnock Town Hall meeting this week about council's plans to expand Wollombi Road. Organised by activist group Save Wollombi Road, around 200 locals rallied against a plan to widen the road to 4 lanes. Residents accused council of being deceptive and intentionally withholding plans from the community, but Cessnock Mayor Jay Savile says they fully intend to inform locals about every step of the process.
Council's currently going through the planning process for this. This is very early on in the stages of the project. We've recently approved a tender to undertake the surveying of the road and develop the preliminary design and then the review of environmental factors. So as soon as those stages come through, we'll be making sure we share them with the community.
A 31-year-old man will return to court in November, accused of shooting a Gateshead couple with intent to murder them. Police arrived at Cassia Crescent just after 2 a.m. last Thursday to find a 42-year-old man and a 32-year-old woman were suffering gunshot wounds. They were tested at the scene before being taken to the John Hunter Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Following inquiries, Serious Crime Squad detectives attended a unit block on Bousfield Street in Wallsend on Monday. It was there they arrested Emmett Sheard in relation to the shooting and seized 2 guns. Newcastle Council says the state government will need to fund another round of community consultation if it wants the city to host the supercars for another year. Council doubled down on its decision not to back a 1-year contract extension for the event at its monthly meeting. A spokesperson says Council would consider a report on the altered deal once feedback from the community was sought. It comes after East End residents and business owners came out largely against the race returning to the city for another 5 years. Women and children in the Hunter who have been impacted by domestic violence will have a safe place to seek support with a new refuge set to be built in Lake Macquarie. It will be designed in the government's new core and cluster model, which provides women with independent accommodation and access to services such as counselling, legal help and education on site. Charlestown MP and Minister for Women and the Prevention of Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault, Jodie Harrison, says it will be delivered thanks to a collaboration between Jenny's Place and Housing Plus.
Jenny's Place is bringing their specialist knowledge and their skills to support women and children leaving domestic and family violence, and Housing Plus are bringing their community housing know-how, and we are really pleased to be part of that partnership.
3 teenagers have been arrested following an alleged armed robbery and pursuit in the Hunter Valley. At about 1 a.m. on Wednesday, police were called to the New England Highway at Blandford and were told a 73-year-old man had stopped his vehicle to assist 3 unknown people who flagged him down. As the man exited his car, the trio allegedly took his keys and threatened him with a knife before fleeing in his white Ford Ranger utility. A short time later, police were conducting patrols on the Singleton area when they attempted to stop the vehicle on the New England Highway. When it failed to stop as directed, a pursuit was initiated, continuing on towards Newcastle. The pursuit came to an end in North Lambton following the successful deployment of tyre spikes. 3 teenagers, 2 boys and 1 girl, were arrested at the scene before being taken to Newcastle Police Station, where they were charged with multiple robbery offences. Women in the Hunter will no longer need a new script to collect the contraceptive pill from the pharmacist. They'll need to have received a script in the past 2 years and be aged between 18 and 35. Health Minister Ryan Park says more than 900 chemists are participating in the year-long trial out of the University of Newcastle, which is already allowing women to access UTI medication over the counter.
This is all about making sure that we try and provide healthcare that is safe, effective and as easy to access as possible. And what we're also trying to do is take some pressure off our GPs and our primary care services.
The state government has made a $45 million commitment to build the Hunter Valley Green Hydrogen Hub at Kooragang Island. The project aims to assist emissions-intensive businesses to reduce their reliance on fossil fuels, and it's expected the project will deliver more than 200 direct and indirect construction jobs. New South Wales Energy Minister Penny Sharp says the Hunter has a critical role to play in the state's clean energy transition.
The whole world is currently really in a race to find how to make hydrogen technology work. For things like the hydrogen hub are really going to make that work well. New South Wales is very committed to this. We want to be not just the first in New South Wales, we want to be world leaders. We want to set New South Wales up for the future to be leaders in relation to hydrogen technology. The hydrogen hub is really going to help us with that.
2NURFM Sport.
In sport this week, Kalen Ponga is praising the support of his family after a shock win at the Dally M Awards. The Knights captain surged up the leaderboard in the latter rounds, seeing him edge out Warriors halfback Shaun Johnson by a point. Ponga says he couldn't have done it without those closest to him.
Yeah, it's a proud moment for the family. We're on this roller coaster as a player, but your family's in on it as well. And ultimately, the goal is to win a comp, but to pick up an accolade like this is pretty special.
Another Newcastle fullback, Tamika Upton, has taken out the women's Dally M medal. And the Newcastle Jets are facing a rocky pre-season with a number of players afflicted by stomach virus. They were beaten 4-3 on Thursday by Macarthur Bulls in Maitland, with midfielder Jason Bertamere taken off at half-time. Coach Rob Stanton says he'd rather the team face complications now than in round one. And now you're up to date with this week's top stories from 2NURFM Hunter News.
Now, 2HD Local News.
I'm Jessica Rouse. Here's your latest 2HD local news. In gruelling conditions at Sydney's Accor Stadium, the Newcastle Knights clinched 2 late tries to overcome the Titans and secure the 2023 NRLW Premiership. The Gold Coast broke the deadlock, scoring first in the 14th minute.
The Gold Coast broke the deadlock, scoring first in the 14th minute, giving the side the advantage. 5 minutes later, Knights captain Hannah Southwell was put on report for tugging at opposing skipper Georgia Hale's hair in a tackle. Then came an avalanche of tries from the Knights, while unable to capitalise on their own conversion attempts. They were ahead 12-8 at the break. Newcastle looked like they were coming undone in the second half, but 2 tries from fullback Tamika Upton gave them the win they were after, defeating the Titans 24-18. Police are on the hunt for 2 men believed to be responsible for an armed robbery at Broadmeadow and an attempted carjacking at Merriweather in the early hours of yesterday morning. A man was allegedly threatened with a knife at his Broadmeadow home by 2 men, and then another man at Merriweather almost had his car stolen by 2 men. Police believe the incidents are linked. No one was injured. And in sports, Cessnock's Luke Huth and Maitland fullback Brock Lamb have been named joint winners of the Newcastle Rugby League Player of the Year award. At a celebration of the season at Newcastle Racecourse on Saturday, a number of players and coaching staff were recognised for their outstanding efforts this Newcastle Racecourse on Saturday, a number of players and coaching staff were recognised for their outstanding efforts this year. And you can find the latest Hunter news at 2hd.com.au.